Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast. My name is Nate. Joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, how are we doing today?
Nate, we're doing good. Two tournaments down between the DP World Tour and PGA Tour. Definitely some heartbreak between them for the both of us, especially for you. DP World Tour, congratulations to, I believe it was Nacho Elvira, right? One of those.
Hmm.
Um, Lowry double bogey on 18, just absolutely gutting. That's just as bad as it gets from the bunker to the water and just no good for Lowry there. We were both on Hillier too, who had a runner-up finish. He had a fantastic Sunday. I think it was a 6 under round for him. But again, look, it proves that you have Rory, you have Fleetwood in the field, and you still have some of these guys at higher odds who have the ability to win. So that is promising from a betting perspective for us. And then on the PGA Tour, congrats to Chris Gotterup, guy who didn't even cross my mind to be honest here, but he's just played some fantastic golf to close out 2025. Had great rounds of golf this week at the Sony Open in Hawaii, and I there was some crazy tweet that he was ranked uh, extremely high at this time last year, and he's climbed all the way up to like the top 30 on the OWGR rankings. So a great feel good story there. Um, but yeah, he really took control of that tournament on Sunday and did not let it go. So again, going into Sunday, there were a lot of guys within punching distance and who had a shot. Davis Riley punted it away rather
Jeez.
early, so the door was very open. But again, Chris Gotterup was the one who stepped up to the plate, got the win. He's a premier talent and should come as no surprise for him getting a win early on this season.
Yeah, and Chris Gotterup. So we're looking at these models we run every single week and what should be successful at this course and how we do this and address this course. And someone like Chris Gotterup comes up and attacks the course in a different way than we thought would be the winning ticket, right? Chris Gotterup is a bomber of the ball. That's normally not the case at Walhalla Country Club, right? It's a plotter's course, it's a second shot course, and he just found a way to mash his ball around. I mean, there's a difference between mashing it in the way that Chris Goddard does it. Yes, he hits 320 every time, but it's also straight, right? He's cutting corners, clearing trees. He got some lucky bounces along the way with some of his errant shots that hit trees and bounce in the middle of fairways at time, right? And that's part of it. So he addressed it differently. And again, we do this week in, week out. We have what we think should be successful at a golf course, and then something out of the blue comes out. And again, Chris Goddard never crossed my mind because he doesn't fit the mold what we're looking at for that golf course. And he goes ahead and goes out and wins it pretty handily and pretty easily along the way. Yes, the DP World Tour was a heartbreaker. I was on Shane Lowry, of course, and yeah, that was one of the worst finishes you'll see in a long time. Right? You have
Yeah.
Shane Lowry, who's a touted as a top 20, 25 player in the world, right? Ryder Cup champion, major champion, and he out of the bunker into the water for a double bogey, which all he needed to do was get up and down to go to a playoff. At that time, right, he didn't know that because he was you had Nacho trying to finish out his round. But either way, up and down to go to a playoff at least, and he gets a double bogey and falls to T3. Heartbreaker there when you're on a guy like that, and that's how he blows it, throws it away. But it's golf. What are you going to do? You just move on. We have a new week here with the American Express and the PGA Tour. We remain in Dubai for the Hero Dubai Desert Classic on the DP World Tour. I will say at least one of those events is good because the American Express is probably my least favorite event of the entire year. It is a pro am. We'll get into it, right? But it's a pro am, so it is annually has the longest rounds of any tournament per year. You're talking 6.5+ hour rounds because you have, celebrities and tech CEOs hacking around with the pros. So the pros take 4 shots to get the ball in. They're going to take 10 to get in, but they have to wait for everyone to play, and they do 3 days of this. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but it's not a great event. The courses aren't amazing either. Maybe PGA West is okay. It's again
Yeah.
cookie cutter, nothing crazy. But beyond that, it's what we have to do it this week. And as betters and fans of the sport, we're gonna watch no matter what, right? We're gonna be like this event sucks. I hate this event. Then we're gonna be tuned in on Sunday, hopefully sweating it out either way. But yeah, a lot to talk about this week. But before we do hop into things, Jake, where can we find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at Jake OOTR on Twitter, where I post all my outright betting cards. Be sure to give me a follow. You could join the Out of the Rough Discord, which is completely free with no hidden paywalls. Our community of 250 plus members, ranging from golf fanatics to professional gamblers, are all contributing valuable insight to the Discord, which makes it a super powerful resource to have at no cost. Nate runs a dedicated community wager tracker channel in the Discord. He compiles everyone's weekly picks into a nice organized list. It's a great way to see who the community is backing each week, and we get to celebrate and congratulate people who hit winners. So there were a bunch of people who were on Goddard Up and had that read, so congrats to them. Nate and I also share some exclusive content in there. I post my tournament and round matchups, which were profitable last week for just under 3 units, so that was great. Nate also posts his first round leader bets. Feel free to reach out to Nate or myself for the link to join that, and be sure to check out ootrough.com for our weekly articles. Nate covers pretty much every tour, and I post my PGA Tour articles there. The site also features Nate's shots gained putting by grass type, another completely free resource to have at your fingertips. You just got to visit the website and search for your player. So shout out to Nate for compiling that. And yeah, just be sure to check it out. There's a lot of good content on there.
Yeah, and beyond that, you can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. Be sure to follow Out of the Rough on all social medias. Just search Out of the Rough, you'll find us. On the website as well, you can find the weekly one and done for both the PGA Tour and DP World Tour, completely free as well. It's a way to get a little action in. And maybe if you're not a fan of the DP World Tour, know the DP World Tour. It's a way to introduce yourself. You pick a golfer and track them for the week. Prize money to scoring, completely free. A fun thing we've been doing for 3+ years now. A lot of people. We had over 50 some odd people for the first week on the PGA Tour, 30 plus for the DP World Tour. So be sure to check that out on the website as well. And you mentioned that Discord completely free, exclusive content, community wager tracker. There's no reason not to be in there. And of course, we have our newsletter, which comes out weekly, where I compile everything that we offer each week between Jake, myself, and Andrew, put it in one easy and convenient place to find everything we have to offer. And exclusive to that newsletter is the placement chart for the respective PGA Tour event. So this week you'll get the results for the last 6 years at the American Express in a nice spreadsheet where it ranks and averages out how they finished over the last 6 years. So it's a nice tool to have as well, and that's again completely free along the way. All right, Jake, let's move forward into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. We have the American Express this week on the PGA Tour. We talked a little bit about it already, but it is an event that is staged over 4 days at various golf courses. You have the Stadium Course, the Nicklaus Tournament Course, and the La Quinta Country Club, all part of the PGA West. You'll play each of the three for the first 3 days, and then you'll finish with the Stadium Course for a second round to complete your event this week. And again, this is a top 70 plus ties make the cut. And I mentioned the amateurs will be playing this week. There's 2 amateurs, 2 professionals per hole. That also makes longer rounds because you have more groupings out there with only 2 pros per group opposed to 3 as we normally would see, and a bunch of amateurs along the way in this Pro-Am. Either way, the field this week, this is an event that, despite everything we talked about and how we've shamed this event so far, annually draws a pretty decent crowd. And I think it's mainly because it's the first event on the continental United States. That's the biggest part of it. But, world number 1 Scotty Scheffler's in attendance this week. If you're a golf bettor, you hate to see that, especially early in the season, trying to find some units before Scotty starts making a run at everything. But yeah, this will be a 6th start of the American Express. We have Justin Rose, Harris English, Sepp Straka, Alex Noren, Ludwig Oberg, Matt Fitzpatrick, Sam Burns, and Patrick Cantlay, all within the top 25 of the OWGR playing this week. Also teeing up this week, you have Russell Henley, Robert McIntyre, and Ben Griffin. That first list I mentioned are those making their 2026 season debut. Henley, McIntyre, and Griffin played in Hawaii last week. Sepp Straka, the defending champion, as Jake knows rather well, as he was on him last week at this event, I believe. Right, Jake?
Yep.
Okay. There we go. And he held off Justin Thomas by 2 strokes to win his first of, what would he win, 2 events last season along the way, along with the Truist, I believe. Other former winners of this event teaming up, we have Nick Dunlap in 24, Siwoo Kim in 21, Andrew Landry in 2020, Jason Dufner in 2016, Jonathan Vegas in 2011, and Charlie Hoffman way back in 2007. So as I mentioned, we have 3 courses this week, the Stadium Course being the most notable and the most recognized of the 3 courses, and the one they play twice. It's a Pete Dye design that emulates TPC Sawgrass, which is, of course, the home of the Players' Championship, par 72 at 7,187 yards. Water is the course's main line of defense as it comes into play on 7 holes, so must avoid the water. Beyond the water, the course's other main line of defense is the par 3s. 3 of the par 3s featured this week rank as the 1st, 2nd, and 4th toughest holes on the entire course. Being able to navigate these challenging par 3s will be key to any hopeful winner. Then overall, there are 10 holes at Stadium Course with a scoring average below par. As previously mentioned, both the Nicklaus Tournament Course and the La Quinta Country Club are much easier than the Stadium Course. The Nicklaus Tournament Course plays the par 72 at 7,147 yards. This is also the only course on the PGA Tour that features 2 island greens. So if you have a trivia coming up and the question may be which PGA Tour course has 2 island greens, you now know the answer. The Nicholas tournament course. So the La Quinta Country Club is the easiest of the three. And between 2017 and 2020, it played as the easiest par 72 on the entire PGA Tour. It plays as a par 72 at 7,060 yards. It offers very low scoring, of course, with a scoring average of minus 2.1. These courses are also the same concentration of short par fours and reachable par fives. So golfers must take advantage of their 2 rounds at those two aforementioned golf courses if they do go on to win this event. Weather looks fine beyond that. Jake, anything to add before we move forward?
I guess just quickly, if you see a market for a first round leader and a book is asleep at the wheel, and it's not broken out by course, I would definitely hone in on guys at La Quinta. I think I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this last year. Most books already know this trick, but if by chance you come across it, definitely a pro tip there. And yeah, the cut is made after 54 holes this week. So
Yes, Fred mentioned.
um, if you're live betting, another thing to keep track of, it's very hard that they are playing 3 different courses, but if someone does post a good number at the stadium course and they still have the Nicholas and La Quinta to play, it could be a good opportunity if they're hanging a big number.
Yeah, great idea there to keep track of that stadium course and see how guys are doing. If there's a great round there as their first or second round, and you can live bet someone if they have, say, La Quinta or the Jack Nicklaus course to go and get yourself a juicy number before they even score, hopefully a lower number.
Yep.
All right, let's get into our betting this week. I think we have the same number of golfers this week, Jake, at 6. And with your bigger DP World Tour card, I'll kick things off here this week. So I'm going with Russell Henley at 25 to 1 to start the card here. And I debated heavily between him and Ben Griffin simply because Ben Griffin has a better course history here. But my model tells me that Russell Henley is a play, and Russell Henley had a better number than Ben Griffin. So that's also part of my decision making here. Last season on tour, we have Russell Henley, who finished 10th on tour in both hit fairways and par 3 scoring, 13th on approach, 21st in scrambling, 23rd in pressing the hole from 150 to 175, 26th in green regulations. He's 42nd in birdie or better, 53rd out of the sand, 60th in strokes gained play Bermuda. As I mentioned, that can be found on ootrough.com, free of charge, of course, and 69th in par 5s. Hasn't played here since 2022, where he placed 14th, missed the cut in 21 and 20, but Russell Henley is a much better golfer at this point than he was even way back in 2022 when he had a 14th place finish here. Just a guy. This is I don't know if he's a birdie fest type of golfer, but this is a guy who's going to get himself in chances quite often. He's a competent, every aspect of the game he's competent in outside of distance, but he's going to find the fairways, set himself up perfectly, attack these greens, and has a quality putter despite what we saw on the 18th and 17th at Bethpage, right, Jake? But either way, I think 25 to 1 in a field like this. I know you have Scotty Scheffler, the Ben Griffins, you have some bigger names around him. But of those guys, I think Russell Henley has a real shot to win this golf event, and that's why he's on my betting card at 25 to 1.
Yeah, I can't fault you for taking Henley at all. He was definitely in the bucket of guys at the top of the board that I was considering. I meant to mention this at the top of the hour. I mean, I don't necessarily love this course or tournament for Scotty Scheffler. So I think that there is a lot of opportunity for these guys at bigger numbers. If Scotty wasn't in the field, Henley would be under 20 to 1
Oh,
pretty
100%.
comfortably.
Yeah,
Um,
and real quick on that, Jake. Scotty Scheffler has not been great at this event. If I'm going to
yeah.
look here at my Google Sheets, if you want to bear with me here for this is part of what is offered on the newsletter with the placement charts, free of charge as well, where you can load this stuff up yourself and don't have to rely on me to provide it for you. I'm trying to find it here. What is this event? The American. I know this is great podcasting here. I'm looking for Scotty Scheffler because um he hasn't
It's
been
not
great.
very good.
No, I know this is great. I should have had this before, but I forgot to mention it. So Scotty Scheffler didn't play here last year because the hand situation. But all right, these are okay numbers. But in Scotty standards, you have a 17th and 24, 11th and 23, 25th and 22, a miscut in 2021, and a third place in 2020. Again, to anyone else, we're like, that's great course history. That is real good. Let's bet that guy. But Scotty Scheffler at his standard, this isn't a course or event where he's had much success.
Yeah, I mean, he's 3 to 1. Like, I'd expect better course history, especially from the best player on the tour. So, again, I think that there's a lot of opportunity here. And I think that Russell Henley provides that opportunity. And I'm going to move into my next play or my first play here, which is Matt Fitzpatrick at 33
Yes,
to
love
1.
it.
I had a huge bucket of players where I'm like, these are the elite talents, and I'm going to take the largest one. Obviously, me and you, we both agree on this. Wanted Ben Griffin at 25 to 1
Mhm.
so badly
I would have
because that
been
would have been
right
the
there with you.
easiest. would have been a smash.
Easy.
But he came in just under 20 to open, and I said I couldn't get there. So I went with Fitzpatrick at 33 to 1. A huge number on a guy who's been playing some incredible golf between the PGA Tour and DP World Tour. This is not a course that I would pick him out of a lineup to play well at, but the recent form is just too good. He's posted 9 top 10 finishes in his last 15 starts between the two tours. And this is his PGA Tour debut. He has not played this tournament before, but you cannot ignore 9 top 10s in your last 15 starts. 33 to 1 is too big of a number. Last year on the PGA Tour, he was 34th in strokes gained total, 82nd off the tee, 76 on approach, 63rd around the greens, and 30th putting. He has an elite short game, and you're going to need to make a lot of putts this week to contend. And I think that Fitzpatrick has the game to do it.
Love the call there. Of course, recent winner of the DP World Tour Championship, one of the bigger events, star-studded field with all the Europeans' best golfers in that event. Went on to win that, but again, just insane history, or excuse me, run of form, and it's a matter of time before he finds himself back in the winner's circle on the PGA Tour for his third victory.
Yep.
All right, so my next play here, let's keep it going. I have everything up, trying to find that. So after Russell Henley, I have a big drop off, and I think if you've looked at the books, you notice this. There's the top end of the board, then there's a massive drop off. There's really no one in that 40, 50, 60 range where you'd normally like move your next guy, right? So I'm jumping clear down to 80, and we're going Akshay Bhatia here at 80 to 1. So again, it's kind of the Scotty Scheffler effect where he's in the field, he kind of bumps some guys down because of that. But either way, Akshay at 80 is a big number. Last season, he was 10th in par threes, 12th in proximity the hole from 150 to 175, 14th on approach, 18th in birdie or better, 49th out of, or 46 out of the sand, 72nd hit fairways, 81st green relation, 104th in strokes gained putting Bermuda, which is not, Akshay's problem is the putter. It's always been the problem, but 104th in putting on Bermuda isn't that awful. One of the biggest problems, though, with Akshay, we haven't seen him since the Hero World Challenge where he placed 14th. Played this event 3 times, missed the cut in all 3 of them, so nothing to write home about. But this is also an event that I don't think course history is that big of a deal. You can kind of come to the left field and win this event, as we saw. With like Sepp Straka wasn't course history wasn't amazing. Nick Dunlap won here as an amateur, things like that. This is an event that can be won by anyone. So we're here at 80 to 1 for Akshay Bhatia. Again, no Scotty Scheffler. You may be talking this guy in the 50s, 60s. I think it's a big number for a former PGA Tour winner and a guy that's, you know, hasn't been in the greatest of form, but I think, a restart here and get himself back going.
Yeah, I love Batia. You never have to twist my arm to bet him. I considered it and I didn't have enough room, but he's one of those guys, Nate. We've mentioned it a lot last season. You will know within the first 4 or 5 holes
Yep.
what Akshay Bhatia you're getting. The one that's going to contend into Sunday or the one who's going to blow up and miss the cut. On the bright side, you have 3 different courses this week, right? So if one just isn't agreeing with him, you just hope it's not the stadium course and he can make the cut and build some form off of that. But this is a guy who could pour in putts. I know the putter can be a problem, but when it's running hot, it is hot, and he can win any tournament he tees it up in. So I like the shout there.
There we go.
Cool. All right, I'm moving into my next play here. This guy got hammered down early, but he popped in my model. He ranked 11th. Siwoo came at 50 to 1. He got shot immediately
50.
down to 35. I think that I mean, that number got destroyed, but he's going to be awfully popular. More than anything, he passed the eye test for me last week. He started 4 over through 8 holes and he rebounded to finish T11. He just needed to shake off the rust a little bit, it seems like, and get back into tournament play. He recorded 8 straight top 25 finishes dating to last year. It feels like the win is coming for him. He just couldn't make enough putts down the stretch to win last week, and obviously starting +4 is not ideal. If you erase that start, he's 2 off of Goddardup's win. So it's one of those that you just never know what happens when you're closer to contention. He's extremely accurate off the tee. He's a lead on approach and around the greens. He simply needs the putter to cooperate, which in a tournament where it's a birdie fest, it's a little scary, but at the same time, he looked good in my opinion last week. Last year on the PGA Tour season, he ranked 25th in strokes gained total, 30th off the tee, 29th on approach, 11th around the greens, and then 161st in putting. So again, 50 to 1 was a huge number on Siwoo. If the putter can get hot, he was a winner back in 2011, I believe, or sorry, 2021 at this
Yeah.
event. So he could do it again. He's shown that he could do it. So I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, so I'm openly a Siwoo Kim hater. I will never bet Siwoo Kim, and I'm on the belief that I do not believe he can win a PGA Tour event ever again. So that's where I stand, right? But again, I'm going to allow this guy to beat me, and again, you will never see him on my betting card. It's just simply race, no matter what the model says. And we move on with that. It's the putter. That's the main thing. I just don't think he can make enough putts to compete down the stretch, and we've seen it for his last win. I think was this event 2021. Maybe he won the Sony after that, but it's been a while, and I'm on the belief that Siwoo Kim just can't win the PGA Tour again. So allow him to win this week, and I'll eat my words.
Fair enough.
All right, moving along here to number three for me. We're going to the same 80 to 1 range and going Kevin Yu at 80 to 1. So new year, but not a new Nate. We're going back to my old trusty. Finished last season 13th in birdie or better, 14th in green regulations, 20th par threes, 22nd par fives, 39th in proximity to the hole from 150 to 175, 42nd on approach. And again, you move on to is Kevin Yu a good putter? We don't know, but the stats tell me he's 85th in strokes gained putting Bermuda, 145th out of the sand, 159th in scrambling. Not ideal, but this is a guy who can compete at birdie fests. He's accurate. He hits the ball a decent distance. He has good irons, and I'd even argue elite irons when he's rolling, and has a competent putter, especially on Bermuda. He missed the cut here last year, but he also, in his debut season 2023 or 2024, he placed third, missed the cut in 2023. So we haven't seen him since the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, which has been a while since where he missed the cut. But this is a guy who can win a birdie fest. I think Kevin Yu has a legitimate chance to win this golf event. That putter looks good on Bermuda. So let's get it 80 to 1.
Nate, I love it. He turned the putter around somehow last year to like
Yeah.
where he was spiking with it, and it was the irons that was holding him back. So there was some flip in his game. It's a huge number on Kevin Yu. You're a Kevin Yu guy, and you're right. In a birdie fest, he can contend. So
Hmm.
I didn't even consider him, and I feel kind of stupid for not considering him because I kind of love it. But I don't have any room left on my card, and I'll let you take this one, Nate. I hope Kevin Yu can get it done because it makes a lot of sense for him.
All right. Yeah, you can have C. I'll take Kevin this week. We'll cover those
Perfect.
bases.
All right, moving on to my third play this week. I had this guy circled at this event for a long time. It's Alex Noren 50 to 1. I was excited to see him tee it up. He is in some just insane
Hmm.
form. He is super old. He's an old head on the tour, but if you look at his form between the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour to close out
Insane.
the season, it's bonkers. And if you look at previous winners, he has very similar play styles to them. So Noren, he had 10 in sorry, in his final 10 starts, he recorded 2 wins and 5 additional top 20 finishes. He's got accuracy off the tee, elite approach play, and a world-class short game. That sounds very similar to Sepp Straka. And that's the guy who won it last year. So I'm kind of rolling it with Noren this week. He ranked 57th in my model. Again, not every play of mine is going to be a strict model play. I had his name circled for a really long time, and I'm happy to play him at this event. I generally trust my model more than I trust my gut, but he was one that I just had to go for.
Yeah, and coming to the season, this is pretty much everyone's a placement for who's going to be the first time winner on the PGA Tour this season, and Alex Noren was that guy, right? Been around for a long time, hasn't won the PGA Tour, and it makes sense, right? This is a tournament where you have to have a accurate driver or off the tee game, excuse me. Attack these greens in your second shot and then make some putts to win and keep up with some low scoring. And Alex Noren has been one of the hottest golfers in the entire world since the end of last season. So, again, not on my model or my betting card, excuse me, but I would not be mad if Alex Noren got a victory this week. I think we'd all love to see it get done.
Yep.
I don't know if he's in the same like status as like a Tommy Fleetwood or a Cam Young, but he's up there, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he has as many PGA Tour definitely not as Fleetwood.
No,
I
no.
would assume he probably has similar PGA Tour starts to Cam Young at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the number if someone wants to let us know.
Yeah.
All right, next play for me. We're going 150 to 1 for Matt McCarty here. Just a one appearance at this event where he missed the cut a season ago, but he also teed it up last week with a T55 in Hawaii. Finished last season 10th on tour in par threes, 28th in scrambling, 31st in both hit fairways and birdie or better, 38th in strokes gained putting Bermuda, 62nd approximate hole from 150 to 175, 63rd on par fives, 100th in green regulations, and 116 on approach. So this is kind of the opposite of what we talk about. We always on this podcast, if he can have a spike putting week, if he can make a few putters, we talk about this all the time, right? Matt McCarty's one of the guys. If he has a spike iron week, I think he can compete at this type of tournament. He won a fall series event, which they're all birdie fest, so we know he can pour them in when needed. Very strong short game, very elite putting. Uh, it's just going to be the irons. He's accurate off the tee. There's no problem. It's just the irons. If he can have a good week with those irons, I think Matt McCarty get a second pick on the PGA Tour, and it's a big number at 150 to 1.
Yeah, I love the call. I was on him last week, and
Mhm.
it was actually the short game that let him down, which is really surprising. And that's honestly a better feeling because he gained over half a stroke per
Yes,
round with the irons, and we know he has the short game over the long term. So big number on a guy who, again, you mentioned it, he could pour in putts from anywhere. It's electric.
it's fun.
Uh, it's a great watch. So I definitely like the call on McCarty this week.
All right.
So I was shocked that this guy popped in my model and I had to do it. It's Ricky Fowler. I got him at 66 to 1. It's one of those where he's a fan favorite of everyone pretty much, and I love him to death. I saw him pop in my model at sixth, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm going with Ricky Fowler this week. Um, I didn't really appreciate how strong Fowler closed out the 2025 season. He made the cut in his final six starts with two top 20 finishes and two top 10 finishes. Down the stretch, he consistently gained off the tee in both distance and accuracy. He was gaining on approach and in the short game as well. If he can carry that momentum into the event this week, I really like his chances. He's played this event 8 times in his career. He made the cut in five, and he has three top 25 finishes. This is an opportunity for Ricky Fowler to get back in the winner's circle. Again, sixth in my model. I was like, sure, let's fire him back up. Last season, he finished 75th in strokes gained total, 43rd off the tee, 95th on approach, 116th around the green, and 77th in putting. So, again, really around tour average in everything except around the green. But again, 66 and 1 is not a number people would jump at for Ricky Fowler. But, similar to Norm, where it was a gut feeling, this is a model play for me. So I'm going with Fowler.
Yeah, this is another type of guy that if he got it done this week, no one as a pure golf fan would be too upset about it. Like if him or say like a Jordan Spieth got it done, we would be ecstatic as golf fans and just enjoy the moment opposed to if we didn't have him on our betting card or not. So I like to play. I like to play.
Yep.
All right, I got two more guys here, both big numbers. The one I won't talk, at length about when we get to
Make
that
it
one,
quick.
but this one, I love this play. Nico Echevarria, 300 to 1. I was blown away for the two-time PGA Tour champion to be at this number. Instant first click this week for me. Can't leave it on the board. Finished last season third on tour in par threes. He was fourth in strokes gained putting Bermuda. So we got a guy. This is an event where par threes are crucial, especially the stadium course. And this guy was third on tour in par threes, fourth in putting. We talked about the importance of putting already. 30th in proximate hole from 150 to 175, 33rd in birdie or better, 39th out of the sand, 53rd in hit fairways, 63rd in par fives, 74th in scrambling, 86th on approach, 89th in green regulation. Those numbers scream that he's going to have a fantastic week this week. Now, I know this game matches up really well, but he has not had any success whatsoever at this event. Three times playing, missed the cut last year, 65th in 2024, missed the cut in 2023. But all those stats tell me that this is Nico Echevarria's week, 300 to 1. And we've seen it. Like, was it the Hero World Challenge when he got it done and taking down some of the world's best, chasing them? Or I think he caught
Zozo.
them. What was it? The Zozo? Yes, excuse me, the Zozo with some of the best players in the world. He took that one down. What was it? 2 years ago at this point, three even. I don't know. Everything runs
2024.
together, but he won there. And then either way, this is a guy who can score in a hurry. Remember the final round of the Hawaii last year where he was nowhere to be found, and then he caught Nick Taylor to go to a playoff. That's the type of golfer you're getting here at 300 to 1. I think he's down to like 190 or 180. I think we looked at before the podcast, which is still a number I'd play him at. I was just blown away at 300 to 1 and simply just clicked it and didn't even think about it.
Yeah, Nate, before we hopped on, you mentioned Nico at 300, and I went as quickly as I can and opened what I could to try to find that number, and it was well gone. I think that's a fantastic number. If, I would also endorse the 190 if you can get it.
Yes,
But stats aside, he went from most tip last week at like 45 to 1 to 300 to 1 or 190 to 1 this week. That is the perfect storm for people to just start the golf year angry on Twitter. So besides the stats, that's also an added factor here that I think could play into Nico's potential this week.
perfect.
Yep. Going into my second to last play here, one of my favorites we discussed before the pod as well. Pearson Coody got him at
Yes.
90 to 1. He ranked 18th in my model this week, but again, this was another name that I had circled for this event. I was hoping that the field would be a little bit weaker, and I was also hoping that with the status of players in it now, I would get triple digits, but didn't get there. Last year, Cootie split his time between the PGA Tour and the Corn Ferry Tour. He played some very solid golf between the two of them. More recently, during the PGA Tour swing season, he went 5 for 5 on made cuts with three top 25 finishes. This is a venue where birdies are essential, and Cootie ranks 13th in the field in birdie or better percentage. He mashes the ball off the tee, and he's about tour average in driving distance. So that is a perfect storm in a birdie fest for a guy who could also hit his irons pretty well and get hot with the putter. He's coming off a T13 last week at the Sony Open, where I would not have picked him to play well
Mm.
at. He's a three-time Corn Ferry Tour winner. He'll be looking to break through for his first PGA Tour victory this week, and I think that this is a really good chance for him to do so. Last year on the PGA Tour season, he was 28th in strokes gained total. This is not a typo. He was first off the tee in the PGA
Hmm.
Tour, ahead of all of the premier talent there. 94th on approach, 92nd around the green, and 130th putting. This is a perfect storm. I think this is a great place for Pearson Coody to get his first PGA Tour victory.
Yeah, you talked about it before the pod, and I kind of have a bit of FOMO about it. I just love the kid's game. I think he's going to be a pretty fun talent, at least on the PGA Tour. He's going to win some events sooner rather than later, and he very well could do it this week. And I'll just be sitting here and be like, he was in my model. He was on my short list. He was there. I took him off. I took him off. So that's on me, but I love to play Jake.
Yep.
All right, final play this week. I won't bore you to death, but Andrew Putnam at 750 to 1, 750 to 1. You heard that correctly. I'm going to give you something here. He has some decent course history. Missed the cut a season ago, but 47th and 24, 36 and 23, 14th and 22, 2022, 21st and 2021, and 10th in 2020. Last played the RSM Classic where he plays T25. I finished last season eighth on tour and hit fairways, ninth in scrambling, 17th out of the sand, 20th in par threes, 23rd in green relations, 35th in strokes and putting Bermuda, 46th on approach, 58th on proximate hole from 150 to 175, 83rd in par fives, 135 in birdie or better. That's the number there. Does he make enough birdies? I don't know. It's just a huge, 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 huge number for a guy that pops my medal each and every week. He plays everything about tour average. He's an accurate guy with decent irons. Putter's okay. He's actually a really good putter. Everything else,
Yeah.
it just I don't know if there's enough ammo behind him for a birdie fest, but at 750 to 1, it's just worth a dart throw. Why not?
Yeah, Nate, can't fault you for that. I got nothing to add there. And I'm going to one of my guys as my last play here. It's Max Homa, 125 to 1. If you know me, you know Max. We're longtime buddies here. Um, I'm not going to bore you guys to death, but I just urge you guys to look at how he closed the 2025 season. He posted two top 20 finishes and a top 10 in his final four starts. He really seemed to get his game together. It was a very disappointing season for him last year. There's no hiding that, but it looked like he started to click with some form during the swing season, which he generally, I believe, does not tee it up at all these events, but he really was digging to find some form. And it looked like he started to find it. So I'm happy to play him at 125 to 1. This guy was a premier talent a couple years ago. If he played this event 2 or 3 years ago when he was in that stretch of form, he would be in that 20 range. So he's my guy. I'm running him at 125 to 1. There's never a doubt about it.
Yeah, it's also your guy, right? You're not going to not bet him. And there's like my guys I bet in the background if I don't advertise it either. But again, at 125, we talk about every week with the Sahis, the Tom Kims, the Max Homas, the just the elite talents that were so far down that at some point they're going to figure it out and get back in the winner circle and just you just hope it's the week that you're on.
Yep.
I also want to point out that Tom Kim, some books 600 to 1 is where he opened, so I'll just leave that where it is. All right, Jake, anything to add here about the American Express before we move forward?
Nope, we covered it all.
All right, let's hop over to the Hero Dubai Desert Classic. Again, second week in Dubai. We moved from one side of the city to the other, from the Dubai Creek Resort last week to the Emirates Golf Club for this week's Hero Dubai Classic. Serves as the first of five Rolex Series events. We have increased purse and more race to Dubai points this week. This event was first staged in 1989 and offers the most, or and outside of the event not taking place in 1991, has been held every year since. So this is the 37th edition. It is held at the world famous Maljish course at the Emirates Golf Club. It's been held here every year outside of 99 and 2000, where it was held at the aforementioned Dubai Creek Resort. Field this week, we get a star-studded field each and every year at this event, and it's no different this week. World number two Rory McIlroy highlights this as a four-time former winner of this event, most recently in 2024. He'll be joined by Terrell Hatton, who won this event a season ago, over one stroke over Daniel Hillier. Other notable names, we have Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Victor Hovland, Patrick Reed, Nikolai Hojgaard, Ryan Fox, David Puig, Dustin Johnson, Joakim Niemann, and Tom McKibben, to name a few. Other former winners, you have Hovland in 2022, Danny Willett in 2016, and Rafa Cabrera Bello in 2012. So the Majos course at the Emirates Golf Club is a par 72 at 7,428 yards. Was designed by Carl Litton and opened in 1988. Off the tee, there is little to no defense offered this week. This adds the emphasis of driving distance, as historically proven. The fairways are fairly generous, and the rough is non-penal. Water is the course's main line of defense, as it comes into play on 10 holes. The greens were completely renovated 4 years ago, now featuring a Bermuda Tiff Eagle grass that plays at roughly 11.5 on the Stimpmeter. The front nine here at this course plays much more difficult than the back nine. Four of the five toughest holes of the course are featured on the front nine. So if you're tracking this and your guy starts on the back versus the front, don't get too worked up about it. You know, if he has a slow start, but then has an easier back nine ahead of him. 4 years ago, the front nine played to the tune of 35.18 on a par 35, as the back played to the tune of a 35.6 as a par 37. So a darn near three-stroke swing between the two nines. Of course, this track is an exposed desert track, therefore the wind has a lot to do with the way the course is played and managed. If the winds pick up, the course dries out and scoring becomes much more difficult. This was evident in 2022 when Lucas Herbert won at just -9, as the year prior Bryson DeChambeau won at -24. Jake, anything to add here before we move forward?
No, you covered it all.
All right, move on to our betting card. Jake, I only have four guys. You have six, so you kick it off.
All right, so I'm gonna kick my card off here with Patrick Reed at 55 to 1. Again, this is just it felt like a big number for a guy who has very solid course history here. He won oh whoops, that's the American Express. But anyway, he played this course twice. Back in 2023, finished runner up, and last year he finished top 10. So I love the course history there. He's just a sneaky guy on this
Hmm.
sort of course where he could be a little wild off the tee, which is fine when it comes to desert golf. We know that. The approach play and the short game are what carry him over the finish line. And the putter has been a little cold, let's say, just not great. But the approach play has been there for Patrick Reed. 55 to 1. I'm not really scared if Patrick Reed is contending on Sunday against some big dogs. This guy is a US Open winner, an eight-time PGA Tour winner as well. So, or sorry, I don't think he's a US
Masters champion.
Masters champion, sorry. But he's won a major, eight-time PGA Tour victory, eight-time PGA Tour champion. Oh my God, the words are not coming out well. But at 55 to 1, I think that's a big number and a shot that I'm willing to take with some good course history.
Yeah, it's like looking back to last season with Terrell Hatton. Same thing, right? They play very similar games where they can be wild off the tee, but the rest of the game carries them across the finish line. And Terrell Hatton, I don't think it was on much people's radar a season ago to get this victory here, and kind of just came out of left field and got it done. And I think it has a very similar feel to a Patrick Reed in the same sense. And again, some good course history for him as well.
Yep.
All right, can't believe I'm going to say this, guys. I am betting Joakim Niemann at 25 to 1 this week. Why? I don't know. It just felt right, and my model tells me to do things that I don't want to do, and I have to listen because my model has been very good to me over the last, 4 or 5 years of doing this. Either way, most recently teed it up at this event in 2024 where he finished T4, so a decent course history. The few starts to start this season have not been great, right? He teed it up in both Australian events where he missed the cut. Finished last season on Live, first in distance, second in green regulations, 29th in strokes gained putting. The thing about Neiman is he's failed to perform outside of Live. It's been the dominance of Live, then he comes to a major or the DP World Tour or even the Asian Tour and the PIF events and falls short. And at some point, I think the town's going to translate. I don't know if it's the pressure of trying to come over and compete and be this guy that, the figurehead of Live that he has come and emerged as, what was he, won 6 events a season ago, whatever it was. I think the pressure's there, but in an event like this, I know it's a big number for 25 to 1 isn't super lucrative, but my model tells me that there's value there, so I'm going to play that value. And again, he could just very well miss the cut, and I'll just be sitting on my thumbs. But it is what it is. I don't know if I've ever bet Neiman before in my entire life. But let's start now and hope there's a victory tag to it.
Yeah, Nate, when you were describing what course fit here, Neiman really fits what you said. So it makes sense
Yeah,
to opt in your model. I know the form hasn't been great recently, but look, he's won two, four, six times in his last 25 starts, and he has a T4 at this event in his past. So it's all good stuff, Nate. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I honestly like the call there.
there we go.
All right, moving into my next play here, it's Thomas Dietrich at 60 to 1. Quick
Ooh,
shout out to the PGA Tour website who removes people very quickly if they are out of the tour. So do not have the strokes gain data on him there, but um, again, I just thought this was a big number on a guy that kind of fits this mold well. He's been mashing the ball off the tee as of recent. The iron play has been very solid, and we know that he can pour in putts in a hurry. So that really fits what I'm looking for here. At this golf course, back in 2018, he finished T22. In 2021, he finished T9. He's played it four other times besides that, so he has some course history here. Just a big number on a guy who, again, he also his last two starts were a T6 and a T7 respectively. So those, I mean, they aren't too recent. There was some time in between that, but hopefully he can build off of that. And the 60 to 1 was a big enough number for me to take a shot on.
yeah, Thomas Dietrich. If you guys are living underneath a rock and don't know, he moved to Live as one of their premier offseason signings. But yeah, I mean, soft spot in my heart. Hit him at the WA Phoenix Open a season ago, which was a birdie fest, and was able to get it done there. And he did it so in dramatic fashion as well. He had some people storming, and he just didn't care. Got it done by quite a bit of strokes. But I like to play there, and he fits the mold very well.
Yep.
All right, my next play is our crossover here, Jake. We're going back to the Daniel Hillier crossover. I'm at 35. What do you have him at?
Yep. Same.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, this is you can't ignore what he's doing right now. On the DP World Tour especially. Last week solo second. Have to keep my finger on the pulse. We were both on him. Outside of that, he was sixth at the Crown Australian Open and fifth at the BMW Australian PGA Championship. Runner up at this event a season ago as well. So everything just points to Hillier having a great week this week. So miscut incoming if you want to bet that. Currently third on tour in green regulations. He's fifth on approach, 20th. Excuse me, I missed that. I doubled up there. 34th off the tee and 35th in average driving distance. I don't think there's much more to say. I mean, solo second to last week of Desert Golf, second to last year in Desert Golf, another fifth and sixth to start this season. Is there anything else to say? 35 to 1's I think there's a lot of meat in the bone there at 35 to 1.
Yeah, that was the fastest. As soon as the odds dropped, that was the first guy I looked for. And when I saw it was higher than 30 to 1, that was an
Mm-hmm.
immediate click. Just too good a form to pass up. I don't have much to add besides that, Nate. You covered it really well.
There we go.
I'm moving on to my next play here. Another live guy, Victor Perez, 90 to 1. Again,
I
credit to the
forgot he
PGA.
moved to Pit Live. I totally forgot. I've been looking for him on the PJ Tour, and that makes a ton of sense. I forgot he's that was one of them. Jeez,
Yep. And it's frustrating because I go to get stats for you guys, and PGA Tour rips them down so quickly. I don't have anything
that's funny.
to add. But besides that, he was one of those guys that I was monitoring him pretty close last year on the PGA Tour for wins. So why not
Same.
play him in this event here? He's very well rounded. He's plus distance off the tee, about average off the tee per se, but pops with the irons, pops with the putter. That's exactly what you're looking for. He's played this course five times in his career. He has a T16 back in 2020. He's made the cut in four appearances. He looked like he had life on the PGA Tour last year, so it felt like crazy to me that he was 90 to 1 to not take a stab on him here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that pops in my PJ models all season. Last season, I bet him multiple times, and you know, nothing else to say there. I like to play, and it's a big number in this field, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to my next guy here. I'm going deep here. I'm going to Julian Guerre, 125 to 1, a guy that I've wasted a ton of money on in my DP World Tour betting days. So let's keep going. My idea here is we saw a DP World Tour veteran, an old head in Nacho, win last week in the desert in a pretty star-studded field. Let's run it back with Julian, who, what was he, a T3 a week ago? I
Yep.
believe so. So, good form coming in this week, right? Currently on tour, he's 10th in putting, 15th in driving distance, 18th in approach, 45th in great relations, and 63rd on off the tee. Placed 21st here a season ago as well, 70th in 2024, T65 and 23. T3 a week ago, as mentioned, missed cut at the Alfred Dunhill Championship, but also sixth at the Nedbank Golf Challenge. Again, in a very pretty good field as well. I know limited field, but there's some big names around him in that event as well. So 125 to 1 just seemed like a big number for a guy with a recent T3, just about 20 minutes from this golf course where he did it in another golf course. Same conditions, same type of golf. Either way, I think it's just a big number.
Yeah, Nate, he went nuclear with his irons last week, and if he could build off of that this week, I really love the shout at 125 to 1. He's a pretty well-rounded golfer. Like you said, some solid course history here, so I like the call there.
There we go.
All right, moving into my second to last play is Antoine Rosner at 110 to 1. If you know me, I bet him a ton of times
Yes.
during the swing season. I bet him a ton last year. Didn't come through the finish line for me, but I'm hoping he gets it done this week because he fits the mold really well. Plus distance off the tee, elite approach play, and he can pour it in when it comes down to it. He moved from the PGA Tour to the DP World Tour, and in his last two finishes, he had a 10th place finish last week and a 14th at the Alfred Dunhill Championship. So in some good form overseas. On the 2026 DP World Tour season, he ranks 20th in driving accuracy, 44th in driving distance, 5th in greens and regulation, 8th in stroke average. The putter is what leaves a lot to be desired, or not necessarily a lot to be desired, but he could pour it in when that putter is hot. And it just needs to get rolling for him early for him to have a chance. I love him this week at 110 to 1, triple digits. Just a shot on one of my guys who was on the PGA Tour, now on the DP World Tour. Maybe he could find his form again, back on some courses that he's more comfortable on.
Yeah, if you remember the Rosner of the DP World Tour days, about 2 to 3 years ago, my words are running at this point, and Jake, we said a lot of them.
Yes.
He was always one of the best iron players in the tour for a very long time. That guy can strike a ball with the best of them, and if it comes down to placing the ball, he's a type one of those guys you talk about on the PJ Tour and betting all the time that there's times he doesn't even need a putter because he's putting it that close left and right and he has that game in his bag. So let's see if it comes this week. And again, added motivation being demoted from the PGA Tour back to the DP World Tour after a poor performance of the PGA Tour. So he wants to get back to the promised land. He wants to get back to the PGA Tour, and a lot of motivation riding behind him there, and can play a little bit recklessly and loose, and sometimes it's a benefit.
Yep.
All right, final play this week, 130 to 1. Ewan Ferguson, and we talk about it all the time. Desert golf directly correlates to links golf, so why not go with Ewan Ferguson here? Currently 8th on tour and green regulations. He's 15th on approach, 26th off the tee, 45th in putting, 62nd in driving distance, 20th last week in Dubai, and 10th in the Nedbank Golf Challenge so far this season. 16th here a season ago, miscut in 2024 and 28, or T28 in 2023. Some good course history, in good form, and just a guy that has been around for a very long time and can just kind of pop out of the blue. He has multiple DP World Tour victories where he'll go on a stretch of three missed cuts and then bounce back. And I think that he has a diagnosis of vertigo, I believe, in Ewan Ferguson, where there are weeks where he just can't get over the battling of that, where he takes himself out of golf courses or events, excuse me, because he can't deal with it. There's some weeks it doesn't affect him at all, and that's more notable with the weeks where he pops and goes on to win golf events. So we'll see what happens here. I don't know if like environmental conditions could be affected of that, but you're playing low level, sea level golf here in the desert on Dubai. Maybe that could be a benefit there, but I just think that 131 for a veteran of the DP World Tour who plays links golf with the best of them is worth a shout.
Yeah, I like the call because, like you had mentioned, he goes on stretches where it's five missed cuts in a row and then boom, five top fives in a row. And he finds himself into form very quickly out of nowhere. And it looks like we could be coming up on that stretch with a 20th place finish last week at the Dubai Invitational. So, again, big number on a guy who, once he starts getting himself into form, you need to start paying attention. And you're getting him at triple digits this week. So, I really like the shout.
All right.
All right, my final play here, Dylan Fratelli, 300 to 1.
Yep.
Not much to talk about besides the fact that he has good course history and he had a really good finish last week. He's played at this course three times in his career. He finished 6th in 2018, 41st in 2024, and then 10th place last year. He had a 10th place finish last week at the Dubai Invitational, where he gained on approach and in the short game, the off the tee left a little bit to be desired, but that was mainly driven by accuracy, which again, desert golf, not the end all be all. If you spray it a little bit, just don't find yourself in hazards. He carries that plus distance off the tee. He has the build to be successful here, and at 300 to 1, it felt like a no-brainer with a guy with course history plus a good finish last week to take a shot on.
Yeah, beyond that, there's nothing much to add. You talked about it, and 300 to 1, a guy top 10 last week in great course history. What's there to add? Take your shot, put your pennies, hope to win a lot, go along with it.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, that rounds out the podcast for the week for the American Express on the PGA Tour, and of course the Dubai Desert Classic on the DP World Tour. So next week on the PGA Tour, we move to the Torrey Pines kind of rotation between what is it, the North and South course, I believe, right, Jake?
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Sounds right. For the Farmers Insurance Open, and I believe that's the one with the Wednesday start.
Maybe I'm just
Is
all I'm thinking in my head is Farmers Insurance Brooks Koepka's back. That's all I'm thinking, Nate.
Okay, that is a point. But we get Brooks Koepka on the PGA Tour next week, so mark that down on your calendars. I think we all have at this point. But isn't one of these events a Wednesday start? Because I thought it was like to not avoid with the NFL, but it can't be next week because isn't championship weekend this weekend where I think that
Yeah.
because next weekend's they're off because the Super Bowl's the following
And then
weekend.
it's probably the following week, which
No, because they have the WM Phoenix Open. They have like an early day start, so you watch golf up until the Super Bowl starts. I don't know the answer to this. I'm pretty sure there was a Wednesday start at some point. I thought it was Torrey Pines. I could be wrong. But either way, we have that event next week, and then we move to the Bahrain Championship and continue our quest around the desert before we get done. What do we have? The Bahrain, the Qatar, then we're into Kenya, which is my favorite event, the DP World Tour, just
yeah.
only because of I can see elephants in the background while I'm watching golf. But yeah, we have some great events, and we're just getting started. I don't know. I don't need to preach to you that there's great events coming up because we haven't even got any events coming up. But this early start, I'm not a fan of the American Express. The Farmers Insurance again was a two-course rotation there that I'm not the biggest fan of. But then we're going to start rolling into the WM Phoenix Opens of the world. We're going to roll into the Pebble Beaches, which is a pro-am, which I still don't know why we're doing a signature event with a pro-am, but that's beyond me as well. Then, the Genesis and all the fun stuff is really right around the corner. We're just getting cooking here, guys. So if you're listening to this point of the podcast, first off, I don't know why you are.
You're
Uh,
being
yeah, I would probably seek a therapist at this point if you're listening. No. Either way, we appreciate all of you guys. It's a joy to do this. I know if we've got a ton of traction across everything we do so far to start this season, I only hope to continue to provide more and better content for you guys. I know Jake's in the same boat, so we just wanted to extend a appreciation to you guys. And before we hop off here, Jake, where can we find you on social media?
Yep, you can follow me at JakeOOTR on Twitter, where I share all my outright betting plays. I'd also encourage you to join the Out of the Rough Discord. It's 100% free with no hidden paywalls. The community includes 250 plus members and is an excellent free resource to have at your disposal. Reach out to Nate or myself, and we will get you the link to join that. And one bonus thing, if you're watching this on YouTube, Nate looks like Keegan Bradley right now, and you gotta let him know it. He's got the mustache going, he's got the USA Ryder Cup hat on. He looks like our captain, but I have faith that Nate would have done a better job than Keegan. Anyway, Nate,
No.
your closing remarks.
Simple enough. I wouldn't have rolled out Colin Morikawa and Harris English on back-to-back days. I just want to point that out there. So if they, Team USA is looking for another captain, I am willing to step in and I am willing to do it. I will take the harsh remarks. I will take the banter and stuff that comes with that. Just give me the call and give me a chance because I think I can do better than Keegan.
Yep.
Wouldn't be hard. Either way, you can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. Be sure to visit our website, OOT Rough, for an extensive list of golf betting content. I forgot to mention at the top of the hour, and I need to apologize to Andrew at All Tour Golf Bets. That guy covers the Corn Ferry Tour and the Hotel Tour better than anyone on the internet. I swear to you. We're currently rolling with those random Sunday through Wednesday Corn Ferry Tour events in the Bahamas. He's covered both of them extensively. I haven't checked on the scoreboard. He had Botha, again, Brand Botha, and he was doing okay. I think he was like T2 when I checked last. But this guy knows those two feeder tours more than anyone. The Hotel Planet Tour, I think, starts up next week or maybe the week after at this point. But I apologize for not at the top of the hour bringing that up as I normally do each and every week. So, Andrew, if you listen to this at this point, I apologize. It won't happen again, but keep up the good work. And be sure to, in the meantime, go follow him, boost up his followers for me, forgetting to mention him at the top of the hour. But yeah, beyond that, we'll see you guys next week.